एवरीवन, आज मैं फिर एक नए वीडियो के साथ आपके सामने आया हूँ एंड दिस टॉपिक इज़ वेरी क्लोज टू माई हार्ट. आई हैव सीन मल्टीपल टाइम्स इन माई करियर. ये कहीं ना कहीं आप रोज़ आपको दिखेगा आपके ऑफिस में होता हुआ एंड दिस इज़ वेरी कॉमन एंड दिस इज़ रिलेटेड टू पीपल. आपको मैं बताता हूँ. बेसिकली इस वीडियो का जो टैग लाइन है वो है पहचान कौन. इसका मतलब बेसिकली ये है कि जब आप एक ऑफिस की सेटिंग में ऑफिस एनवायरनमेंट में होते हैं, हाउ डू यू रिकग्नाइज योर कोलीग एंड फ्रेंड्स. ओके, आप एक टीम में काम करते हैं, किसी भी वर्क प्लेस में हो सकता है ये, या आप किसी दुकान में काम कर रहे हैं, यू वर्क इन अ कॉर्पोरेट, यू वर्क इन एनी गवर्नमेंट जॉब एटसेट्रा, एनीवेयर. one thing is very common that you will have differences with your managers, with your team leaders, and it's both ways, right? So sometimes when they speak to you about something, of course you probably would not agree to everything they have said about you. And what it brings is that it brings a lot of dissatisfaction in terms of that, okay, I've got this feedback, this is not relatable, I don't think I was doing this wrong. So there could be multiple notions or multiple thoughts will come into your mind, and that's pretty common. It works, it happens as it with everyone, I would say, to every level also, right? So it's not limited to that somebody is on a very entry level, this is happening with them. This is with the mid level or maybe senior level management also. But yes, of course, the expectation is that the senior level management is like anyways so experienced that they know how to tackle with such things. Now I'll just dig a little more into this video about the particular topic I want to touch base on. So consider a situation where your line manager has been giving you a feedback on something. Now, if you don't like that feedback, what usually people will do, right? So they will try and speak to somebody within their team with whom they go for lunch or for any breaks, tea breaks they go for. So they usually people will say that, okay, my line manager, he said this thing to me, he doesn't know anything, he doesn't understand where we are sitting, or where basically our side of the story. And then they might say a few more things which I really do not want to call on the video, right? Which could be a little sensitive if to call out here. But yes, people do abuse, or people basically take out their frustration in breaks, etc. So the point I'm coming from is that when you share something with a colleague of yours, and then how the entire reaction can make of such a statement. So for example, I am not happy with some feedback, I go back to one of my colleague and say on a break that, okay, my line manager, he doesn't know anything, he probably he's just giving us orders, he doesn't understand the our side of story. But to whom you are telling this, are you sure that the person you are speaking this issue with or sharing this issue with, they understand it so well for you? I know that they might come back and say to, yes, you are absolutely right, I also feel the same thing, मेरा manager भी मुझे यही बोल रहा है आजकल. So you might connect well, right, in that sense. But it could be a negative to negative connect also. The See, I'm not against somebody sharing how you are feeling or how you are going through. But the difference I would want you to recognize today is a difference between a colleague and a friend. Now, if you go to a colleague who is not your friend, he might say yes to whatever you are saying. So you will say he's not doing right, and then he'll say, oh yes, you are absolutely right, I think you should do this, you should plan for an unplanned leave, or you do whatever. So he'll probably say whatever you are saying, he will say yes to that. Now on the other hand, if somebody is your friend, they will be more often than not, they'll be honest with you in terms of they would want to dig little more to say, okay, what exactly had happened here, okay, why did he give you feedback on this, is it something it was repeated by you, or do you understand his position, where he's coming from, is there a delay from your end on something. So without having that fear of that you would probably would not be happy with his statement, he will still be honest with you. So those are the people who can criticize you, who can upfront, honestly speak to you about, those are your friends, and those would have that capacity to speak to you. So as I said, right, the colleagues more often than not, they will not. So I'm not saying that a colleague will not be able to give you a an honest advice, but more often than not, they would not be. Okay. Second thing is, when you speak to a colleague or to a friend, usually they are the ones who would not have that capacity to resolve the conflict or the issue you have with your manager. Which means the best thing is to do is to go and have an open dialogue with your line manager, your boss, whomsoever it is. Go have a formal setting, speak to them, ask for a meeting, try and resolve the issue, to say that okay, this is what you said, I was not able to connect to this. This is not something I appreciate. Okay, so use such a kind of a language which is very professional, but you're still able to put your point across. So that way, at least your manager understand that okay, this person has come back, he understands the issue, he would have thought about this, and try and introspect as well that okay, while my manager is saying something to me, that there has to be something behind it, understand the rationale, and come to a common page. If you think that this is still not working, then I think my suggestion would be to use your escalations point rather than going to a colleague and just basically spreading this thing across, because you understand that maybe a colleague who would probably in a circle go back to discuss it with somebody with little more mirch masala, and it might go back to your line manager. So he might not like it in a way that okay, if my team has an issue, they would rather be discussing it with me than discussing it with 10 different people on the floor or in the different department, etc. So I think that's why you lose the trust also between a manager and a colleague. So I think my suggestion would be go have an open dialogue, but as I said, pehchan kaun. So please recognize who's your friend, who's your colleague. So friends more often than not, as I said, will give you good advices, okay, without having a fear of you may say few things to them. But I think go back to the people who can really help you, and those people is like your line manager. If he is not able to do that, use the escalation point, go to a level up, but put your point across in a way where you can you at least you are professional enough to discuss the issues. Okay, so that'll be my advice for today. Again, as I said, this is an uncut video. I usually don't use any filters, etc. in between, but yeah, so if you like it, please share, subscribe, comment on my video, and I'll come back with a new video very soon. Thank you all. Bye bye.